Jenny, and I've been in recovery since March 15th, 2015. So that makes it about 7 years, 2 months, and some days. Um, I'm currently a peer recovery support specialist at a female recovery home, and I never thought I would want to work with recovering addicts. I worked in manufacturing for like 4 years of my recovery, and I never saw myself working with newcomers ever. Never. But I love it, I enjoy it, and it's helping me grow. Um, Personally, I like the outdoors, I like to travel, and I love movies and comedy.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Well, thanks so much for coming out and joining us today. Can you start off with sharing a bit about your childhood, what life was like growing up?
Well, life was pretty chaotic. My mother was also an addict, and she, until I was about 5, my mom was clean, at least to my knowledge. And then she was diagnosed with a rare bone disease called Gorham's disease, and it ate her clavicle bone, and just like it's kind of like a bone cancer, but
Okay.
it's very rare. And she started using again, and there would be people over drinking and stuff like that, and that's what I noticed first around like 5 was the drinking. And then as the years passed, I would notice the drug use, even though I wasn't completely aware of it. Something was going on, and there was abuse. She was abused, I was abused, and it was rough. We were homeless for a little bit, not a long time, but then she actually died when I was 11, of a heart attack from gangrene.
Oh my.
So yeah, the infection went to her heart. She went to cardiac arrest, and that was, I think, addiction related, because we don't take care of ourselves in addiction. And she had a cut on her leg, and it turned gangrenous and went to her heart.
Oh my.
She died.
I'm so sorry to hear that. And
Yeah.
who did you go to live with then after your mom passed?
I went with my grandma.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what changed when you moved in with your grandma?
We were upper middle class, so I had everything was given to me. We weren't poor. I had plenty of food, my clothes, my needs. I had all the opportunity in the world. It was just my mental and emotional state was that of an addict. I did not belong. I was alienated. I didn't feel a part of, even though my family surrounded me and they knew what kind of trauma it is to lose your mother at 11,
Right.
and to deal with an addictive parent for years. They knew that, but I didn't want anything to do with that. And as soon as I found drugs around 12, that was it,
So what did you first start experimenting with?
Weed.
Okay.
I do remember going into an alley with my friends and feeling a part of. And I knew that was the thing. It was like, I can be with these people and have this camaraderie and feel a part of and feel like I belong. I remember that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So can you talk a bit about how your disease progressed through your teenage years?
After that first time, I mean, it's crazy. We talk about, progression of disease. Cause I remember I think I was like 13, and taking, I had everything. I had everything given to me. I had a VCR, telling you my age. I had a VCR, and I took this VCR because I wanted an ounce of weed, and I gave it to my friends to sell, and I got ripped off. I can't even remember how much weed I got for that VCR, but I was 12, 13, and I'm already pawning my things.
Right. Yes.
For weed,
Right.
because my friends are like, hey, if you bring us this VCR, someone will give us all this weed.
Yeah.
And like, I remember getting that little baggie of weed and being like, is this worth a VCR? Like, I don't know. And I didn't know my father through my childhood. Like, I knew him, but I didn't know he was my father. I'm biracial, and my mother, my family really, I guess she didn't believe that they would accept that, like that he was black. And so she kept that from my family and me. And then around 13 and a half, he told my grandma that he was my father. We got a blood test and everything. And I started going over to his house, and he was an alcoholic and would drink, to excess every night, with his friends. And there was always alcohol. And I think to compensate for him not being present in my life, like he used money and things, food, like whatever, like he would give me things to compensate. And drugs were one of those things. Like he would buy me weed, he'd buy me cigarettes, he'd buy me alcohol, and it was just always there. So like I would go to his house on the weekends, and that's when I started doing benzodiazepines like Xanax, Klonopin, and he had a script of Xanax. And I remember at 14 being at his house and like going through all his medications and just looking for anything that said may cause drowsiness. And like, that's the key.
Yep.
That's the ticket right there. And so I found these alprazolam, which ended up being my like number one. Like I to this day, like, don't bring Xanax around me. I don't want it. Just get it away from me. I don't want to hear about it. And that night, I remember taking a couple of them and feeling like 20 minutes later, like nothing's happening. And then taking more. And that continued for, I couldn't tell you how long, if it was like a couple of hours or, 20 minutes. No, it wasn't 20 minutes, but I don't know how long it took, but I ended up taking 28 of those pills that night. And
oh my goodness.
Yeah, I remember at some point just saying, I don't care. I just want to die. I don't care. And then, I went to school that, I think it was that Monday, and I had just taken 28 Xanax on Friday, and I was still like gone.
Yeah, they have a long half-life.
Yeah, I was gone. And I ended up getting on probation from that.
Okay. Could you maybe share a couple of stories that really illustrate what active addiction was like when you're in the throes of your active addiction?
I remember being homeless, and I just was at the mercy of the world, but it was all because of the choices that I was making, and it was because of the drugs, but I couldn't see that. But I was at the mercy of the world. Whatever was given to me, I was like not a good addict. Like I was not good. Like I hear people talk about, I had this money and I sold this dope and I had this boyfriend or girlfriend who had all this. And I was not that person. Like I struggled to get high like every day. It was like, who am I going to call? Prostitution, just homelessness. It was just whatever. I don't know. It's like being told, if you keep doing this, you're going to die, but you don't care. Like it doesn't matter.
Right.
It's not even an afterthought. Like you don't even hear it. It's just, okay, well, we're going over here, we're going to go get high.
Yeah.
Like I need to go here. You are irrelevant in my life. Anything going on with you is irrelevant. Do you have drugs? No? Okay. We'll see ya.
Right.
Like it's irrelevant. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Nothing else matters except for, and like I said, it's that feeling of alienation and like just not belonging. Like that you feel like you have nobody. And I had gone out one night to prostitute for cigarettes, and that's like my lowest point. And I had gone down to these train tracks, and I don't know what happened. I don't think anything happened between me and the guy, but I remember a cop came, and he took off. The guy was gone, and I'm just like, what the hell? So the cop stops, and he asked me my name, if I have any ID, and I said no, and of course I don't have ID. I'm talking about ID. So he runs my name and he says, "Hey, I'm really sorry, but you have a warrant in New Jersey." And I just sat down on the curb, and I remember surrendering, inside myself. I remember
Yeah.
like feeling like, this is it, man. This is it. Like, this is it. This is like you're in the woods about to, like, prostitute for some cigarettes, and here's a cop. Like, this is it. And I sat down. I asked him if I could smoke a cigarette, and he was like, "Yeah, go ahead." And I remember feeling like, man, this guy like has such compassion. He's not like a trash cop. Like, he's not the ones that I'm used to that just like grab me and throw me and like are like mean and violent. And like, it was shocking to me that he had treated me with dignity. And the whole ride up to the jail, like, I remember just talking to him, telling him like, I'm done. I don't want to do this anymore. And like, just basically crying in the back of his cruiser, which I'm sure he's heard so many times. But like, I ended up getting extradited to New Jersey and going to this lockdown treatment facility. And I was in there. I was in Trenton, in the county jail for a couple of months, which was like, Jesus, like, what the hell? Where am I? I mean, it was insane. It was insane. Big eye opener there. And then I went to that lockdown treatment facility up there for like 6 months, and I came home, and I don't know, I started abusing psych meds, which is very common with people in addiction. I feel like people are over medicated at the time when they start getting clean, and I don't know, I don't agree with that. I'm not a doctor, but I don't agree with it. I remember I had been, doing the same behaviors, just not using narcotics. And I was like still like chasing men and being sloppy and disgusting, like, in my opinion, to me, that self-talk.
Right.
And I texted this guy and asked him to like come over with some alcohol and some weed. And I remember like putting this blunt to my mouth and thinking, you're messing up, you're messing up the whole way. And I used anyway that night, and I started using heroin again. And then I did that for it had to be 7 weeks I used. And I remember I was like talking to this guy, and he knew me in active addiction like before, and then knew that I had gotten clean, and so was spending time with me like when I was clean and everything. And he was like, "I'm so proud of you. You know how people do. I'm so proud of you. Like, you're doing so good. They have so much faith in us. They believe in us."
Yes.
And when we're detoxing or newly clean, we're like, "Yes, I'm gonna do it this time. Never again." And those detox dreams. And so that guy was like, he was coming over to my apartment, and I knew I had to meet my dope dealer, and I knew I couldn't do it around him because to him I was clean. So and we were still we were still maintaining that, like, that illusion of we're clean, we're fine. Yes. And so I met with her, and I told her in the car, I said, "Hey, I can't take this in the house." I was like, "I got to do this in here." And she's like, "Oh, that's fine. Yeah, go ahead, do it." And then came back in, and we were sitting on my couch, and I don't know how long we were sitting there or whatever, but he goes, he was on this side. He goes, "Are you high?" And I went, "No." And I just remember this feeling, like, I can't even describe it. It was this feeling of disgust with myself. It was this feeling of like, man, you did this again. Like, here you are again, and this person is looking at you. Like, I've never really been ashamed of being an addict. I've never been like a person that's like, I don't use drugs. I'm always like the one that I use drugs. They are good. I use this and this. Do you have any? Let's use drugs together. I've always been that person. And that was the first time that I've been ashamed of myself for being high. And so like, I didn't have any more dope. And the next day I woke up, and I just remember like sitting on my bed and just saying like, I can't live like this anymore. I cannot do this. I don't want to be this person anymore. And I remember feeling so, like I wanted to call somebody, like I wanted to be around people, and thinking all your friends are in NA. Like, who you calling? Who you calling right now? And I remember like this loneliness and this despair, and I was just literally just sitting on the side of my bed, and I thought, you have to get honest. Like, that's the only way out of this. It's the only way. And like, there's a reading in NA that it says that, like, you know, you have a choice. And so I was like, okay, you can do this or you can do that. And I chose to make a phone call and get honest. And my aunt actually has she's got 39 years clean, and so she's all, you know, my whole life she's known. Mm-hmm. So she's been like probably waiting,
right?
Like, when are you gonna get this? When? And I called her and I got honest, and I have not used since that day. Well, since the day before that day.
Right.
Yeah.
That's beautiful.
Yeah. And it was that moment of clarity that I had, that I probably had a million of them, but that time it was just like, no, we can't keep going in this direction.
So what'd you start doing then to build a solid foundation of your recovery?
I went to meetings. I did everything they suggested in meetings. Mm-hmm. And that's what I did.
Okay. What were some of those specific suggestions that you felt are really beneficial for you?
Well, the first one is don't get high. That is the best.
Yes.
Like, no matter what happens, don't get high. It doesn't matter if I had like, and it, you know, for the first year of my recovery, I would take somebody with me to cash my paycheck. Not that I felt like using, not that I even, you know, thought money was going to be a trigger, but I just wanted to be safe. Mm-hmm. I surrounded myself with clean people. I didn't hang out with people who were using. Like they say, like, new playmates, new playthings, new playgrounds. Like, I created a completely different atmosphere for myself. Like, it all had to go. Mm-hmm. And I have no ties. I have no using or active addicts in my life at all. Right. 'Cause that's the number one thing that I know will take me out. If I sit in a room full of people who are using, I'm going to use. Mm-hmm. Like, it doesn't matter how much recovery I have, how much clean time I have. I'm going to use if I sit long enough in a room full of using addicts. And I just created, I took suggestions. Like, I just, clean people was the number one thing. Mm-hmm. And taking responsibility, you know, in 12-step programs, they're called 12-step programs for a reason. You work steps. Mm-hmm. Yep. So that's what I did. I worked steps and took suggestions, and I try to help others. It brings me out of myself.
Mm-hmm. And it works. Yeah. Like, that's the part that's so important to get across, is it really does. So could you, what are some intangible and tangible gifts that you have received over the years of recovery?
I have my license. I have a license. I'm not only, 15 minutes ago, I was telling you I don't have an ID. Yep. I have a license.
Yes.
I mean, I didn't have my license for 12 years, and I have a license today. I got 2 payments left on my car.
Oh, that's got to feel good.
After 48.
That's awesome.
That's amazing.
Yes.
That is amazing. I've had the same apartment since 2014. Even through that relapse, I kept my apartment. My rent is paid early. My bills, I have a over 700 credit score. Like, what?
Yeah.
What? Miss eviction? Miss eviction has a 700 credit score. Like, that's crazy. Like, yeah. I have a key to my my aunt who's in recovery with 39 years clean. Yeah, I have a key to her house. They have keys to mine. My family invites me to things. I go.
On time.
On time. most of the time, I go.
Yes.
They actually want me to be there. They want me to be present. They want me to know their children. I sometimes want to know their children. I'm able to, like I was saying, like, I wish that my grandma could have seen me clean, because I feel like that relationship, like, I'm big on history and like knowing where I come from and my family and like their stories and like what was it like back then. Firsthand accounts, I love that.
Yeah.
And I feel like I was robbed of that by addiction with my grandma, but I'm not robbed of it with my aunts. And so, like, all that wasted time, I don't have to waste my time anymore. Like, my time is valuable, and when I spend it with them, it has substance. You know, I'm present. I can remember. It's not like I'm not just there to like get money or like scope your area out to see how you're doing. So what can I take from you?
Right.
Like, I'm there because I love them and I want to be with them, and I'm able to, like, you know, say I'm wrong. That's a huge thing for me. I'm my self-centeredness, I was telling you guys outside, like, it's not all gone. Like, it's still me first all the time, but like I'm able to like say, wait, okay, no, not you first all the time, right? And before, there wasn't even like a part of a filter. There wasn't even, it was just me. There's no other, everything else is irrelevant.
Right.
And that, I think, and the most precious gift of recovery is choice. Like, I can choose what I do today and how I live. And because I didn't have a choice, you know, I really didn't. We think that we're running our own lives, and we're not. Like, the drugs, it makes a decision for us.
Right.
And today, like, I don't have to spend time with people who treat me bad. I don't have to go and sell myself. I don't have to do any of that stuff, you know, like, because I would just do anything to get high, and people just were terrible to me. They were terrible. Now, if you're terrible to me, I gotta go.
Yeah.
Did you need a ride? Sorry, I'm moving.
Right. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, and really, earlier you talked about that animalistic existence, and that's really what it is. I mean, it's that survival is, and it's living in that all the time, and never getting a break. So, what would you say that you learned from your addiction?
Compassion, empathy, that, like, people are human and deserve a second chance. Like, I don't judge anybody. I mean, I have my, you know, we're human beings, so we do judge, but I don't discount anyone for the things that they've done, no matter what it is. Like, anything. Everybody has addictions and mental illness. We do recover.
Yes.
Keep trying. Don't give up. Don't quit. Keep trying. Like, I used, what do we get up to, 5? I relapsed 5, probably more that I've forgotten about. Like I said, Xanax. Like, keep trying, because it will happen. Like, you don't have to take it to the bitter ends. You don't have to lose everything. A relapse isn't failure. It's just a learning experience. It's okay to not be okay. And like, when we get clean, like, we're not okay. Nothing's okay. We're fractured people with fractured personalities, but we are not broken, and we can heal. And it's a process. Like, everything doesn't come at once. You didn't get that way in 1 minute. You're not going to be healed in 1 minute,
right.
But it's going to be okay as long as you don't use.
Yes. So, is there anything that we missed that you would like to share with us?
Thanks for asking me to be here.
Well, thank you so much. Your story is amazing, and I so appreciate your willingness to share so openly and really be able to describe what life is like, what it was like, and what life is like today.
Yeah.
Your story is going to help so many people that are out there that that really need, that some hope and some inspiration, and know that they're not alone, and
Yeah.
that there is a place for them in the world. So
Yeah, and they are loved.
yes.
We feel so alone. We feel so unlovable, but we're loved.
Yeah.
People love us.
For sure. So thanks so much for coming out, and take care.